right, here we are with Sherry. We're testing out the blood this morning. We're a little nervous because we don't know what we're going to get, especially because we're filming it. Documenting. No food today. It's like 7 a.m. She's been on the carnivore diet for, today is day number 18. So she joined in when some of you joined in. And she got a tremendous amount of work in yesterday. She lifted weights and did all kinds of stuff. She's starting to feel a little dead.
Actually, I feel great.
Oh, that's good. You were a little pooped last night.
That is true. Okay. Here we go.
Can't make her bleed.
It is, maybe. Oh, of course, not easily.
That's the worst. Sometimes you got to do it twice, right?
Okay, yeah. Of course, on film. And I've got it set up where it should work. Okay. Get my glasses on so I can see.
Yeah, but
There we go. Now we got enough.
There we go.
Okay.
What do we get? Patiently waiting. Oh, we're a little high for today.
Yeah, 107.
So it kind of disappoints you a little bit when it's a little high, right?
Yeah, it's still way within range, but I went in the 90s.
Yep. I think yesterday you said you were like 94 or so.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a little finicky for a while, unfortunately. So it will go up and it will go down, even after all the work we did yesterday. But we still got to stick with it, right?
Absolutely. I'm in till the end, and all you stay there too.
There we go. So now I'm going to test myself and see what's going on. You just hold this. It's already running. Just try not to get your finger in the way of the camera. There you go. And which side of it does it? Oh, this side?
It doesn't matter. It should be all ready to go.
Oh, it's ready to go.
Yeah.
And then I just push the button.
Yeah, and put it up against your
All
finger.
right, let's see if I can.
Okay, I was going to say, to the side of your finger, it hurts less.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
There we go. 3, 2, 1. Ah!
Oh, I got my finger in the way.
That's okay. I hit it, but I don't know if that's going to do anything. Might have to try it again. Do I need a different needle?
No, you can do it one more time if you want.
Pull it back.
Till you hear it click.
Yeah.
And this time good because my finger's out of the way of the camera.
I go here more.
Did it hurt?
Yep, a little bit.
Okay, now pinch it.
Come on.
With your other hand. Pinch with your other hand.
I got a lot of calluses, so it's kind of hard.
Yeah.
Get that blood out of there.
You got to make a drop because you got to have something to pick up. You'll do it.
You think it'll
Yeah,
come
there
out?
you go. There you go. You just need enough of a drop so that the
Okay.
little needle can pick it up. Okay,
pretty
push up a little bit. Get closer to it.
Oh,
There you go. Oh, see, that means you didn't get enough blood.
Oh, man. Can I get more on there now or no?
No, it's broken.
Oh.
We got to throw that stick away.
All right, let's try it again. Where's a new stick?
Okay, here. You hold the camera. Let me do it because I'll do it a lot quicker.
We're messing up over here. We actually, you know, when you do a carnivore diet and you primarily eat protein and you start exercising as well, your body's going to go through something called protein gluconeogenesis. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. I don't know tons and tons about it. But I do think it's like sometimes overblown. I actually think that it's a good process to help keep your blood glucose up a little bit so that you can exercise and train and have good glycogen levels.
I'm going to do it for you.
All right, here we go. She's going to do it for me.
No, give me a new finger because you don't want to do that one. Okay, I'm going to do it over here because you got a lot. Wait a minute, this side feels softer, so let's do it over here.
Trying to get away from those calluses. Okay. There's Sherry.
Okay.
Get everybody the finger.
There you go. Oh my goodness.
Did we not get in there yet?
No.
All these calluses.
Mark. Even with pressure. All right.
Maybe turn it up to 5. Does it go to 5?
There is no, it's up as far as it goes, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Okay, let's cock it again.
Oh, this finger's a little soft.
Yeah.
That
Okay,
finger's
let's
not
try
bad.
that. This might hurt, but I'm going to do down here.
I would try it right here.
Right there? Okay.
Right on that fat part. There we go. That
I
work.
think that might work. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to put this on there because
All right.
we're going to get a reading this time. Here we go. Now it's going to... 79. I can only dream for that.
You'll get there. We'll get you there. Sherry also no longer trusts me with my workouts.
Don't ever go walking hills with him.
58 minutes. 58 minutes in a 10-minute walk. We're not allowed to take shortcuts, so we got to keep going up the hill, Sherry. Keep on it. These hills out here in Bodega are no joke. Powering through it. Using my butt. Using my hammies. Make sure you're staying up to date on your 10-minute walks. Your prescription is 3 a day. Stick with it. We're giving this another go. Gotta see what we end up with here. It's later on in the day. I think it's... I'm not sure what time it is yet. But we went for a walk. She also took a supplement called berberine. And it's higher. Oh my God. So it's still going to take a lot of trial and error.
Is that crazy?
It's crazy.
That's crazy.
We still got a lot.
I had no food.
No food yet. Fasting. It'll be a mystery, but we'll keep working on it. Heading out to get some more food, buy some more meat. I forgot to mention earlier with my mother-in-law and her diabetes and her with the prescription that she was using, metformin. So I forgot to mention that when she woke up with a 94 blood glucose rating the other day, that was with having 1 metformin during the day. And so since that time, we have discontinued that. And so that's why she's getting a little higher readings. But as long as we keep her below 125, we're all good. And we just incorporated berberine. We're going to start kind of bringing that into the mix. That's supposed to be able to help. Supposed to be almost like a more natural form of metformin. I've utilized it myself in the past for like when I have carb meals and stuff like that. But, you know, all we're doing is we're just experimenting. We're just trying one thing at a time, and we're implementing as many things as we can, but we're also trying not to implement too many things at once, which can be a huge problem for a lot of people that are new to the carnivore diet. I mentioned today on my Instagram to take the white belt courses first, and I'll talk about that a little bit more when I'm not driving. I'll talk about that in a few minutes. By the way, my Tesla is driving for me, so I don't have to be too concerned about that. I still have my hand on the wheel and still paying attention to the road. Anyway, going out buying some food, so we got some more food to watch the fights tonight. My kids and my wife are coming up, but it's been a lot of fun being in Bodega. Just me and my mother-in-law. We've been sharing a lot of great times together. We've been talking a lot about she's been widowed twice. Unfortunately, I'm not sure even what you call that, other than just unfortunate circumstances. But she's been talking about her first husband, who I never had the honor of meeting, and she's also been talking about my late father-in-law, David, who helped make the wagon wheels, which is really cool because you can still buy those at roguefitness.com. He helped make the prototype of those and helped get those off the ground in the first place. So I think it's cool when there's things like that still live on, and a lot of his memories still live on in us. And in addition to that, he had a manufacturing plant in Woodland called AIM, and that's still there, and that's still fully functioning, and that's still a thriving company. So, really cool. He left us early. He died of a heart attack. Unfortunately, he also had cancer, and he just went through a really rough time towards the last 2 years of his life or so. But one thing that is great, one thing that is good, is that when he did pass, he passed pretty peacefully. He was just enjoying a moment with his wife on the couch, and they were sharing a good time, and they were laughing and having some jokes, and then that was it. And he died right there on the spot. So really unfortunate, but what do? You got to keep pushing forward. She's pushing forward. She's doing amazing. She's doing great. We got her lifting. We got her walking. And we're going on some badass walks. I mean, these are crazy. They're not easy for me to do. And I've been walking for the last like 5 or 6 years. She hasn't been doing anything. But one thing I'm learning from her, which I think is really amazing and really cool, is that if you simply just don't overeat, you won't get that out of shape. Because for as wimpy as she might be, she's not that out of shape. She's doing pretty damn good. And she doesn't have any ailments. She has no pain. Her feet don't hurt. Her ankles don't hurt. If I was working with somebody who is obese or somebody who's been overeating, they would have a lot of aches and pains, and they would have a lot of issues. So it's really a blessing that she has just never really cared that much about food. But anyway, now we got her straightened out and we got her on the carnivore diet. Today is day 18, still kicking ass, still feeling really good. I fast nearly every day. Today I haven't eaten anything, just some water and some black tea that I had earlier in the day. And like I said, going out to buy some food. Normally I keep my eating window, I try to keep my eating window in about a 4-hour window, with the exception of when I was eating once a day. But I've learned that window is too short if I only eat once a day. So I opened it back up to about a 4-hour window. Might be something that's really effective for you guys. However, take the white belt courses. You don't start out with fasting. You start out by eating. You start out by eating often, eating a lot. Eat till you're hungry, or eat till you're full, and eat when you're hungry. Just simply follow that. And also remember this too, another key carnivore tip here. If you're not hungry for meat, then you're not actually hungry. Then it's a false hunger. If you're not hungry for meat, then it is a false hunger. That's a great way to know that you're actually hungry. Out here now in Sebastopol, California. Some shops around here and stuff. I'm gonna grab some food in a little bit here. Gonna watch the Conor McGregor fight tonight, and it'll be interesting to see like how hungry he is. I feel that he's gonna win. I feel like Conor McGregor is gonna win, and I feel that he'll win a 5-round decision. I don't think either guy is gonna be able to hurt each other that bad. So I don't think either guy's going to be able to finish. This all, of course, with the caveat of whether Conor McGregor has actually been training hard and got in shape. I mean, obviously, both men need to train hard and get in shape, but Conor McGregor has made a few $100 million. And sometimes it's hard for people to still be hungry. I'm going to take some of your questions as we go here. As I go on my 10-minute walk. Got a nice walk in today already. Walked for over an hour, and also been fasting all day. That's feeling good. It's feeling really great, and probably going to fast until about 3 or 4 today. Meeting up with a guy named Angelo out here, a guy who does some filming and stuff. Always interested in getting more media monsters, people that are efficient and great at what they do. So I'll probably just produce a little content with him while I'm here, because I'm obsessed with getting content out to all of you. Please check out my Instagram, the last post that I made where I talked about that podcast with the 4 different women. I think that's super valuable. I think more people, I think more women need to kind of come to the surface and talk and communicate about the style of diet that they're doing and share personal experiences. The information on there was so good. Not one scientific thing, not one scientific study was cited, and I love that, because screw that. Who needs it? I don't need the science. I just need the meat. I just need the meat of what's going on. I just need to know what's the main course, what's the main thing, what's the main thing people need to focus on. Before I take your questions, I'm gonna actually turn this way. I can use this for my vlog later today too. I think it'll work that way. Works that way in my head. But I wanted to talk about white belt courses. So there's 2 things I want to talk about. One is with fasting, is that don't waste valuable fasting time. So I found for myself that a 4-hour eating window is really awesome. And I don't do that every single day, but I do it on most days. A 4-hour eating window. And this is all fairly new for me. So, and what I also want to point out is this is something that I landed on after a long time of eating a certain diet. So it's taken me a long time to get here. This is not a starting point. But when you eat at night and you have the urge to eat again, you're fucking up. You really kind of are. Now, if you're really ferociously hungry and eating another hamburger, that's fine because we're playing the long game. But if you went out to a restaurant and you ate and you're already 90 minutes into a fast by the time you got home, maybe you went on a walk, maybe you did a bunch of other things, and maybe by the time you got home, it's like now 90 minutes later, an hour later, you already have 90 minutes of fasting. There's no reason to break that up. There's no reason to mess that up and to start that fast all over again. So don't waste valuable fasting hours. Have a nice compact window. You're going to be producing, the most amount of you're going to have, your body's going to produce, it's going to be more anabolic when you fast and feast. It's going to be more anabolic. It's going to help you lose body fat. It's going to help with sparing muscle mass. It's going to help you gain some muscle mass. I mean, it does virtually everything for you. So I'm a huge believer of that. That's something I've been doing for a while now, and I actually have learned to enjoy it. I love the feel of it. Now, let me kick it over into talking about white belt courses. So if you want to join in on the carnivore diet, it's like, how do you get started? Well, everybody knows how to get started. You go into the store and you buy some meat and you get started and you get going. And the only way to get something started is to break inertia, right? Is to get momentum. Start moving in a direction, have a goal, know where you're at, have a goal, and be heading towards the goal. That's the definition of success. And so that's how we're going to get there. That's how we're going to be able to pull off doing a carnivore style diet. But also, we got to take some white belt courses first in order to do it. We can't just follow Mark Bell. We can't just follow Paul Saladino. We can't just follow Sean Baker, who probably hasn't had a cheat meal in like 4 or 5 years or something crazy. Probably. I'm just guessing. I don't know. We can't always just follow what those people do, even though I just listed off some outstanding leaders. They've been doing the diet for a long time. I think in Paul Saladino's case, they've been doing it for like 3 years. Keep in mind, I've been doing it for 3 or 4 years. Not straight, but I've been doing it for 3 or 4 years. My brother's been doing it for like 3 years. And we've messed around with keto and a bunch of other stuff. So we have, we were purple belts. We've graduated through each level of belt. And now I would say that we're black belts. But to take the white belt courses, I'm going to give it to you right now and tell you, I made a post about this earlier today, and you can follow along with some of that. It might be slightly different than what I wrote, because I'm not going to remember everything. But, rule number 1 to any diet is learn how to shop. Rule number 2 to any diet, the best way to learn how to shop is to only go to, not only go to, but primarily try to just go to a butcher. Because when you go to a butcher, now you can buy and consume 95% of what they have, as opposed to the grocery store where you can't consume hardly any of it. You can consume like 10% of what they have. So it's the flip, right? I think banding together and saying fuck grocery stores would be a great thing, because then we don't have to worry about them feeding us shitty food anymore. We can go on about our business, getting meat at the butcher shop. And anyway, support your local butchers more. I think it's important. It's something I need to do more of as well. It's a little far away from me, but I'm going to make it work. Anyway, you can also, avoid the grocery store altogether and just order off of a website like Piedmontese.com. Type in Mark Bell at checkout and you get 25% off. Spend over $100, you get free shipping. Learn how to shop. Rule number 1. Rule number 2, white belt courses. Rule number 2 in the white belt course manual, which I'll probably make a PDF of this at some point for you guys or something like that. Rule number 2 is going to be get used to the food. You just heard me talking about fasting a few minutes ago, but you guys got to get used to the food because you're new. This is all new to you. You haven't done it before. You don't know what you're getting yourself into. This feeds into rule number 3. Rule number 3 is don't allow yourself to get hungry. That's rule number 3. Stay ahead of your hunger. Always stay ahead of your hunger. Even within the confines of rule number 3, don't allow yourself to get hungry. Even within the confines of some of these rules, you also want to make sure that you always set yourself up for success. So you're going to go to a restaurant and you know that restaurant takes a long time. Well, eat before you go to the restaurant. You know the restaurant doesn't serve you that much food and you're still going to be hungry and not really satisfied. Well, eat a ton of food before you go. You're going to a party and you're not sure exactly what they're going to have. You heard they said barbecue, but like what if you go to the barbecue and all they have is ribs that are slathered with tons of sugar on them? You can't have them. You got to be that tight on this. You got to be that strict on this because that's what this carnivore diet's about. This is the strictest form of diet that there is. And this is why people dismiss it. And this is why people are like, I like to count my macros. Because people are fucking weak. They really are. I appreciate that those other diets work. It's great those other diets can work for some people. And it's great that people can lose weight that way. But it's my opinion that everyone will land on a keto carnivore style diet. And they will also land on intermittent fasting if they knew it was good for them. Maybe some people like prepping maybe people love doing meal prep. I don't know. I don't. I think it's a giant waste of time. I don't meal prep anything. Ever. I don't ever have to meal prep anything because I just fast. I also don't ever have to eat any leftovers. Now I can eat leftovers if I want. And that brings me to another rule. You should always, like I just said, you should always be ahead of your hunger. And being ahead of your hunger means that you have already cooked up meat just sitting in your fridge that you could heat up very easy, whether it be bacon or sausage or whatever you think would be good. Reheating steak isn't so bad. Reheating a hamburger is not that good. Doesn't taste that good to me. So whatever it is that you think you can reheat, have a plethora of that around. So that way you always have access. You always have access to it. But for me, I don't ever need to meal prep. Additionally, I don't need to ever eat leftovers. I don't mind eating leftovers. Like I'll do crock pot meat. And when I have the crock pot leftovers and I start to put them in the fridge, they actually start to taste even better when they've been sitting around in the juice for a while. They actually get better and better with each day rather than getting worse. So I actually look forward to that. Let's see what other rules we got. Really just filling yourself up with food and making sure that you're satisfied, because what's going to be the number one thing to derail you? There's two things. They're only slightly different, but the two things are hunger and cravings. So rule number 4 is going to be sleep. Need some good sleep hygiene. Need to take care of yourself. Need to sleep well. 8 hours. Make it a challenge that you're going to try to sleep 8 hours every day from now and for as long as you can. And maybe you find out that you only like 7 hours. But anything less than that, you're just kidding yourself. You're just lying to yourself. I only need 5 hours. Work on getting the 8 hours the best you can. Figure it out. Because when you're not sleeping well, you're not going to make great decisions. And it's also been scientifically shown, which I don't even like to utilize science, but it just makes sense that you're going to have more cravings. Anytime you're more worn down, fatigue makes cowards of us all, right? Don't worry, I'm going to answer some of the questions in the question box in a minute. Fatigue makes cowards of us all. And if you're tired, you're going to make cowardly, awful, shitty decisions, and you won't have the accuracy that you would if you were otherwise well rested. I hate going to bed too. But you know what I hate worse than that? I hate missing out on an opportunity because I'm not sharp. I hate feeling tired on my podcast. I hate feeling tired for a workout. Okay, that brings us to our next rule. I think we're on like rule number 5. With your exercise, don't over-exercise. Make sure you're getting in your 10-minute walks. Make sure you're lifting. But if you're new to lifting and you're new to 10-minute walks, well, that's going to be a real kick in the pants. Your workout shouldn't take very long. If you're currently working out for 2 hours, you should start to try to work out for about an hour. If you're currently not really used to working out, work out for 10, 15 minutes. We talk about 10-minute walks. Why not 10-minute lifts? You know, go in the gym and go do one thing. Say, I'm going to go do some lateral raises, and I'm going to superset that with some shoulder presses, and then out. That's it. I'm going to go do, you know what? I'm going to go to I really like doing biceps. I'm going to go to the gym. That's the underhand pitch, right? I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to train some biceps. Each time you go in the gym, you're trying to get stronger. Each time you're going to the gym, you're trying to raise some hell. So that's not changed. You're not working out like a puss. You're still putting in the effort. You're still working hard. But you don't want to be in there forever, because if you over fatigue yourself, if you make yourself, if you go too hard, you're not going to be able to do it the next day. That's really important. Also, if you go too hard, you're going to elicit cravings and you're going to be hungry. So I'm not trying to deter you from going hard in the paint, because you should go hard in the paint. But what I am deterring you from is being an idiot. Don't be an idiot about it. Make sure that you're still training hard, but make sure you're not overdoing it, because you don't need to do so many different exercises in one workout for it to be super effective. It's really funny that when you walk around filming yourself, how many people look at you like you're an alien, especially in the time that we're in, when so many people are filming themselves doing something. Anyway, I'm going to take some questions in that question box. I think that's pretty much... and the last rule is just, follow. You don't know how to lead yet? Then follow. And in addition to that, follow like Sean Baker, Paul Saladino, my brother, Big Strong Fast, Joe Rogan. Follow these people that are already doing it. That's really important. And then also, last but not least, try not to implement too many things at one time. Please try not to implement too many things at one time. So if you're just getting used to it and you hate exercise, just do the walks and just do the carnivore diet. That's going to have the most profound impact on your weight loss anyway. What will have the most profound impact on your permanent weight loss will be the lifting of weights. And lifting weights obviously does a lot of great things to you and for you, and so I'm a huge proponent of it. But if you're not used to it and you start trying to lift, it's just going to throw everything out of whack. It's going to be too hard to spin that many plates at one time. Let me get to some questions and see what I got. Ooh, we got a bunch of them here. How do I break out a keto weight loss plateau? You do that by being honest to yourself. And that's another rule of being any sort of belt, whether you're white or black belt, in terms of dieting. You have to be truthful. Like, dude, where are you messing up? Like, you already thought of, even before I'm done with my speech here, you thought of 3 things already. So cut those fucking 3 things out, Where is there some give? Where is there some take? What can we do? You're obviously still consuming too much food in some way, in some fashion. And also, I would ditch keto and I would do full carnivore. Go all in. Meat and eggs. You want it? I'm telling you how to get it. Guys, I am getting absolutely fucking shredded off of this diet. The only thing I have left on me right now in terms of body fat is just some stuff from when I was 330 pounds. But even that has almost been completely annihilated. So by the end of this month, all of that's going to be completely gone. I weighed 225. I started out this journey at 238. And the body fat is really, really coming off. But if you're stuck, if you're in a plateau, then you need to say, okay, well, I don't need the heavy cream. Okay, I don't need to eat 3 avocados every day. What's the point? Try where's that tipping point? Where is there room? Are you eating 3 meals a day? Maybe you need to try to eat 2. Sometimes you could be consuming too little of food. Every once in a while, you gotta, plow some food. I suggest this to a lot of people. If you're really stuck, so what I would do, here's what I do 100%. First of all, I'd fuck keto, do the carnivore diet. Secondly, tomorrow morning, wake up, eat a big ass omelet, have a big ass lunch, and have a big ass dinner. Kill 2 ribeyes tomorrow, and eat about 6 to 8 eggs tomorrow. Really fill yourself up with some good food. If the ribeyes are a little too pricey, try a little less expensive meat, like a tri-tip or something like that. Do that for the next 3 days. Pound some food. Next 3 days after that, be faithful and be strong on the carnivore diet. Meat, eggs, bone broth. And that's it. All right, next question. Here we go. How many times a week should I do a 24-hour fast? I don't think it's necessary to do any. But I fast basically nearly 20 hours every day. 24-hour fast is a little different. If you wanted to do one once a day or once a week, I think once a week would be totally sufficient. But just keep in mind that fasting is accumulative. So normally the human body recognizes what you're doing to it. And it's like, okay, jackass, you better give me some food at some point. And it knows what you're doing. So there's not really a way to trick the body, because your body will start to try to balance that shit back out again. And if your fasts are causing you to, if your fasts are kind of forcing you into or leading you to overeating and cheating on your diet and overindulgence, then they're not really effective. So that's where you might want to just implement shorter fasts, so that way you can do them more often. Shorter, more often fasts will be more fasting overall. So if you simply fasted like 16 hours every day, that would be more effective than just fasting once a week for 24 hours. Hopefully that's making some sense. And even if you fasted just 12 hours a day, if you just did it every day, you're still fasting probably an extra 4 or 5 hours than the average person anyway, or you're still probably fasting an extra 4 or 5 hours than anything you may have done before. Getting a DM from you made my day, boss. Well, I get the same thing. I get some really high, powerful people reaching out to me here and there, and it makes me feel good. I understand what it means to you guys, and really, just to be totally honest, I'm just inspired. I'm inspired, motivated, and grateful and thankful for you guys and the things that you share with me, and the people that have lost 100 pounds and 200 pounds. And a guy sent me a message today, lost nearly 300 pounds. I mean, it's unbelievable. And it's such a joke. It's such an unbelievable shitstorm of bullshit fuckery out there. You can study all the science you want, or you can just eat red meat and you can learn everything you ever need to know about nutrition. I mean, it's that big of a deal. It's that big of a joke out there. I think you can take all the science and make a giant bonfire out of it. I don't think any of it has any relevance. I don't think any of it's helping anybody. All it usually does is it just shows you what you already know. And we already know that eating processed junk is not great. And I know 100% without a doubt, with the rare exception of people who've got bit by this weird fucking tick, that anyone can flourish on eating meat. Anyone can prosper. Anyone can get ahead. Anyone can lose weight. Diabetes, heart disease, cancer in some cases, not in all cases, but it's been shown many times over. There's been a lot of just straight up testimonials. Again, I don't really care too much about science, but there even has been some science that shows that Cancer can be a metabolic disease. In some cases, it can be sped up. I mean, I'm kind of the believer that most of us have cancer just due to like environmental and whatever else. And stress is obviously a huge part of it. We don't get to pick and choose. And unfortunately, there's a lot of kids that suffer from it. And it does seem like it comes out of nowhere. But like, what if it came from processed foods and sugar? You know? And what if it did? You know, what if it did? I think it's just very clear, you know, and aside from carnivore, I think it's just very clear that we were designed to eat the natural foods of this earth, and that there's going to be a giant price to pay when we overconsume the things that aren't natural to this earth, such as plants and such as maybe like nuts and maybe, you know, and meat, obviously. And you stick to those things and you're probably in pretty good shape. Another thing I've learned, and this is from working with my mother-in-law, who's type 2 diabetic. What I've learned is that you don't want any ailments in your life, then don't overeat. And then so why bother to go through all this effort of meal prep? Why bother trying to weigh out all your foods all the time when you can simply just eat foods that don't allow you to get that hungry, and you'll be safe? She's like 70 something. I forget how old, but she's in her 70s. And she's feeling good and she has no pain. Now, she only recently got on the carnivore diet. Before that, she didn't have great dietary habits. But she had one habit that was amazing. She didn't overeat. She might have ate some junk here and there. She might have some crackers and some bullshit here and there. She's also not a sugary person, so she wasn't doing a ton of crazy stuff with sugar. But she was a carb monger. We got her off that, and now it's having a huge impact. But me working with her and me helping her is easy because she doesn't have any ailments, because she's never had a history of being so attached to food that she couldn't stop. She loves food, she likes food, but she doesn't overeat. So then why don't we just find foods that help us to not overeat? Sounds pretty simple to me. Anyway, went on a little tangent there. Do you know if any powerlifters have gone full carnivore? Yeah, you're looking at one right here. My brother's doing it. My brother's really, I'm not, you know, I don't have goals in terms of strength. I mean, obviously you always want to get stronger. But to be totally truthful, I don't always want to go through exactly what it took. You know, that old Mark Bell is he's been laid to rest. I mean, there's still a savage in there for sure. I can still, you know, I can still ante up to any workout, any style of workout nowadays, and fuck shit up without a doubt. But that next level that it took and the patience that it took, you know, just took set after set. I didn't care. You know, I would sometimes do like 20 sets of something. I just didn't give a shit. I was just like, I'm going to stay here until like I slaughter everything. And that was the mentality. I just don't have that mentality anymore. But I could certainly get stronger very easily on this diet. And maybe that's something that I'll mess with. But, you know, it's hard to kind of show you guys that because a lot of people will just reference anabolics. They'll be like, oh, you just took more stuff. And, you know, and when I came back and I benched to 500 pounds, I was primarily eating meat. There was a lot of other things in there. And especially towards the last few days, I was really trying to bulk and weigh a little bit more. Yeah. And when I first missed the 500 at 220, that was a carnivorous diet the whole way, except for just the refeed to gain weight. And I missed it, but I did bench 479, you know. When I came back and I hit the 500 pound bench, I weighed more, you know. So you can look at it as its carbs, or you can look at it as its body weight. But if you keep your body weight high, there's no reason why you can't do it on a carnivore diet. But I also do believe that there's really no reason to be strict carnivore, 100% only meat, because when you're doing powerlifting, it would actually make some sense to bring in at least a little bit of carbohydrate. But I think you could float on about 100 a day and be totally fine, or do some days where you do like none and some days where you do like 200. I think that could be extremely valuable. Give you that little extra padding, you know. You could even do, you know it's going to be a big squat day. So you could have, 50 grams of carbs on that day, but have 100 or so the night before. So maybe you have 50 before the training session, 50 after the training session. That's just going to help sustain those glucose levels and keep them up a little bit. Then maybe you have a day where you come back off. Like when you're just training something a little easier, something a little lighter, maybe you don't worry about it as much and keep the carbs down, cycle through them. I cheated on keto. Is that okay? Yeah, cheat meals are fine. They're really not a big deal. I think it's just, it's irrational to think that you're not going to cheat on your diet. There's too many yummy foods nowadays. So how do you not cheat on your diet, right? You're going to cheat on your diet. So there's no point in even telling you not to have a cheat meal, because you're going to have a cheat meal. You're going to slip up here and there. My mind has been pretty locked onto this diet. I'm feeling really good, so I don't feel like I need to cheat at all. And I was thinking next month what I might do is just ramp up the amount of food that I eat rather than like dreaming about carbs. I also might throw in a potato here and there once a week or twice a week, kind of see what that feels like, just to kind of throw something in there that I really look forward to. But yeah, cheating here and there it's a very slippery slope is the problem with it. And so for a lot of you, especially any of you listening to this that are obese, you know who you are. Any of you that are over fat, no, it's a no-go. You just can't even let the influence of that in. What I would do instead, though, is like, it's not like you can't ever have pizza. So have like a keto pizza. Like figure out something different that you can do. Pretty simple. Figure out something different that you can try, something different you can do. In your opinion, what is a great way to break your fast? I've been doing it for a few. Yeah, so best way to break your fast is, in my opinion, with bone broth. That's the way I usually do it. You can also do it just with a very small meal. Eat some charcuterie and some cheese. Very easy way. I know people get all crazy about cured meats, but there's not a lot of information or studies showing that there's anything wrong with those meats. No one's called the police on me yet. Ask the questions in the question box, please. So if you incorporate carbs while on carnivore, do you recommend? So I'd only recommend cutting back on fat on the carnivore diet if you started to really have a large amount of carbohydrates. You don't even have to cut back. Like, don't weigh, don't measure. Trust me on this. Don't get involved in calculations, because there's no reason to be that connected to your food like that. What I would suggest, though, is that you just get leaner cuts of meat, and instead of burgers, I would probably ditch burgers and try to go more with steak, just because they taste better, especially the leaner steaks taste pretty good still. A flat iron steak is very lean. Piedmontese has very lean steaks. Flat iron steaks, New York strips, things of those nature are absolutely delicious and nutritious. But no, you wouldn't really have to worry too much about lowering the fat unless you started to eat a lot of carbohydrates. You start to eat like 200 or 300 grams of carbs a day. Then you would definitely have to kind of pay attention to how many like ribeyes you're eating and how much butter you're eating and stuff like that. But just be a little conscious of it. Taking one more question here on the way out. Can you gain size on keto and carnivore? I've actually never really tried it, but I would imagine it's definitely a possibility, because I feel like I'm holding on to muscle mass and I'm doing a lot of fasting. I eat about twice a day and I feel jacked. I feel like I look good. And then for some of you, if you wanted to gain some size on it, I just recommend you eat up a little bit more, I still think fasting is good. I still think fasting has its place. And I know it sounds counterintuitive to ever try to gain some weight that way. But what fasting can do is it can help keep you locked in and honed in on the right types of food. It can also help you to kind of heal your stomach, which I think is really important. A lot of people have kind of a jacked up stomach and they have a hard time digesting stuff. And so I think for that reason, it would it would help a lot to utilize some fasting. Obviously, you wouldn't want to fast every day, all day to gain size, but some small fasts here and there I think would be beneficial. I'm gonna hop on off of here. I'm gonna go inside this coffee shop. Strength is never weakness. Weakness never strength. Catch y'all later. Out here in Sebastopol, California, and I found this guy over here, a sharpshooter. Found Angelo. He's filming some stuff for me today, and he's familiar with filming with in fitness, and he's filmed some stuff for Mind Pump. I know you guys are familiar with Mind Pump. You heard me on their podcast before. I will in the description below, I'll put his Instagram handle, so if you're ever in this area and you need someone to film something, this guy knows what he's doing. He's a stud. He's into lifting, although he's been a little out of sorts, so we got to kick him in the ass and get him back in the gym. But you know, Angelo hit me up a few weeks back, and then we've been talking ever since, and we were able to connect today. Met him over here at a coffee shop, and we're just getting down and shooting some great content today. So I just talked about you know, I just talked about my experience with the carnivore diet over the last 2 weeks, and we're going to film another video here in a second. But you know, a lot of things like this happen in my life where I just kind of happen to meet somebody through something. Angelo's somebody that kind of took a shot. He just kind of like went for it. He just hit me up. It doesn't hurt you at all to do that. And if you're thinking about doing something, I urge you strongly to stop thinking about it and start doing it. This is a 20-year-old kid right here. And who knows, maybe he ends up working at Super Training. Maybe he ends up working with me, or maybe he ends up you know, working for us kind of more on a permanent basis. I have no idea. But you're not going to be able to learn, grow, or know anything unless you try. So I hit him up. I was on my way here. I was driving here, and I actually was already here, and I said, hey, meet me at this coffee shop. And he's like, I'm a half hour away, but okay. And then boom, here he is. So you gotta just go for it sometimes. Hey, Mark Smelly Bell, do you ever miss carbohydrates? Do you ever miss carbs? Of course I miss carbohydrates. Are you kidding me? This is Mark Bell, and I'm checking in and giving you guys an update on my carnivore experience. I'm into week number 2 of the carnivore diet. Week number 1, I just went ahead and did the diet kind of normal. Just ate meat, just ate eggs. However, I allowed some influence of some vegetables here and there. Since that time, I have strictly gotten rid of anything that represents a vegetable, and I'm only eating meat. Cooking up some burgers right here, melting some of that cheese on there for my kiddos. I ate a burger, had some bone broth, and about to cook up a ribeye. About to cook up some ribeye, but I want to get some pork fat on there first. This is one of these kind of Blackstone grills. I love this thing. We have this out here at our beach house. Behind me is our hot tub, which I'm looking forward to going into later after the Conor McGregor Cowboy Cerrone fight. And I got these ribeyes today. Look at these things. Look at that. Looking good. That looks ridiculous. Salted them. They've already been sitting here at room temp for a little while. That's your main tip. You know, just keep checking the meat as you're waiting for it to heat up. You really want to be patient. You want to let the meat get to room temp, and you want to salt it, and then you want to be patient with the actual whatever you're heating it up in, whether it's an oven or whatever it is. Make sure that's hot already. Like, give it time to get to whatever temperature it needs to get to, especially with a grill. And then once you get it on there, once you get it going, you want to just keep checking with your fingers, just kind of poke at the meat. I usually kind of poke around the middle and the edges a little bit, kind of see where I'm at. And then we do this test here, as I've taught you guys before, and you push on this, push on this fat part. Whoops. This fat part of your thumb, This is well done, medium well, medium, and medium rare. And then rare is nothing, right? So there we go. Getting that bacon grease on there and getting ready to eat those ribeyes. Super excited. Remember, rule number 1 here at Smelly's Kitchen is there are no rules. And when it comes to pulling stuff off your grill, I pulled the bacon off, you know, a little bit earlier than I wanted to. But that is kind of a good rule of thumb is, you know, you're better off pulling it off a little early than you are a little bit late. You can always kind of look at it and watch it as it kind of cooks. And you can, because it's going to continue to cook when it's off there because the temperature of it is raised up so much. Especially with your steaks. Worst thing you can do is overcook anything. So here we go. We're going to throw these bad boys on the grill. Look at all that pork fat. Pork fat is kind of smoking right now, which I think is perfect. Here we go. Ready? There's the crowd. Ooh, we got noise from that one. Ooh, look at that sizzle. Look at that sizzle. Try no fapping of this, son. No fap January coming to an end. If you're watching this right now, put that guy right there. You want to make sure everything's in the bacon grease. You know, you can save your bacon grease, or you can just cook bacon every time you cook, which is what I do. And I know people bitch about, let's see, is the price on here? I don't see a price on here, but it's from Whole Foods. Oh, there we go. $59.21 for amazing ribeyes. I know people complain about price, but you know what? A lot of the same people that complain about price have the same phone I do and sometimes drive the same car that I drive and are living outside their means in other places when they could really make a great investment in their health. Drive a shitty car for a few years, suck it up. Don't drive the car don't drive a car that you bought for everybody else. Drive a car that you can actually afford. Sorry, moving stuff around here. That's what I had to do for many years. I drove piece of shit after piece of shit, and that's just the way things go sometimes. Anyway, enough of a speech about that. You know, you should. Well, I'll finish up with saying, if you got car payments, figure out a way out of them. You shouldn't have car payments if you're not, unless you're well off and you can handle them just fine, and that's different. But if you're one of these people that's complaining to me about, I don't have money for a New York strip, stop living like an idiot. Pay attention. You know, watch something from Grant Cardone, or watch something from, I mean, there's so much information out there about saving money and about making money. You don't really have any excuse. Cooking up these steaks, what we're going to be looking at here in a minute is we're going to watch the kind of gray, or the color is going to kind of come up from the bottom. And kind of when that color starts to come up, that's when we're going to flip it. That's the way I do it. I don't know, like, I've never read a cookbook before. I've never read a book, by the way, period. I'm just a doer. See how that's getting that color right there? I bet you it would look great if I flipped it right now. Look at that. See? That looks awesome. So proud of myself. These other ones went on just a little bit later, so give them a little bit extra time. And let's see. I don't see kind of that same color on this side. Let me see if I can see it over here. It's a lot of fat in there. Oh yeah, I am kind of seeing it down there, down below. Hard to film, so I don't want to get caught by the bacon fat. But that's looking really good too. We're going to give her a flip. Oh, Jesus. Wow. That's looking dope AF. Let's go on this guy. Let's go like this. And that's looking really good. I don't time anything. I don't care. I'm just going to let them go like this for a few minutes. And I'm just going to monitor them. Holy shit. Welshire, they make bacon and pork and Polish sausage and stuff like that. Wow. That's the best you can buy, I think. Coming down towards the end. I'm going to press this guy down right here. See this guy sticking up? Just a little bit. Not trying to get a bunch of crap to come out of there. By the way, that press that I used, the steak weight thing, it's not a 45-pound plate. So I know some of you had concern about how it could potentially, you know, kill the steak or whatever, but trust me when I say that it wasn't. It was simply just pushing the fat down and not pressing the fat out of the meat. Look at that. That looks amazing. I'm gonna take a picture. Showing here in real time. I think we're doing really good. I'm gonna give her a poke. This one was on there first, I believe. I like the resistance I'm getting from that one. Yep. Oh yeah. These are done. And at this point, once they're kind of done like this, it's like an emergency to get them off there. Now I know this would be frowned upon by most carnivores, most steak people, but you know, if you feel like you still need to put it back on the grill because it's not quite as done as you want, there's no shame in that. There's also no shame in throwing it in the pan for a second. Look, we gotta live our kind of normal lives. I like to do that with it too, sear out that side a little bit, especially when it's got the fat on there. Look at that. Holy cannoli. Get this guy over here. I don't even know if you're supposed to do that, but that's something I like to do with my steak. Looks funny. Sealing her all in, baby. Seal those juices and sop up some of that bacon grease. Oh, there we go. Now dump it down there. And now, play the waiting game. Gonna let it rest for probably about 5 minutes or so. Should be pretty optimal. We'll go with that. And we'll see what we end up with. Eating some steak, watching some UFC. My little partner, eating partner, cooking partner, watching my every move. This is ribeye number 2. I'm just eating until I tap out. I'm gonna enjoy the fight. That's the conclusion of day number 18 of World Carnivore Month. Thank you guys for following along. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you tell other people, make sure you comment below, make sure you like the video. Strength is never a weakness. Weakness is never a strength. Catch y'all later.